Next, we went to Japan. In Japan, we did a faith camp in Tokyo. On Sabbath afternoon, we had a training session on prayer walking, and the people divided into groups and went out on a short prayer walk. After the prayer walk, they all came back and were very excited about what God was doing and planned to do it again in the future. Most people in Japan practice Shintoism and Buddhism. In Shintoism, they believe in 8 million gods. They believe in a God for every part of nature. There are about 130 million people in Japan. Less than 1% of them are Christian. While it may appear that the people are well off and have all they want, you can see in many of their faces hopelessness. They need to know of a God who loves them and can give them true joy and peace. We went to a couple of children's homes while we were in Indonesia. The kids that came to these homes are kids that come from very poor families and they have little chance for education. So the kids come and live in these homes, and the house parents send them to an Adventist school if available. Sometimes they homeschool, and if there's no Sabbath issues, they may go to public school. No matter their background, they learn about Jesus and what he has done for them through family worships, church attendance, and mentoring by the house parents. Before going to Indonesia, we stayed at a children's home run by the Norton family in Sukhothai, Thailand, for a week.
So that couple there in the back, that's the Nortons.
They have 25 kids that we were able to spend time with and get to know a little. The Norton family started their time in Thailand in the city trying to be a light in their neighborhood. They were given 2 children that were living in a bad situation.
That's who these 2 here are. They got them when they were little. This is how they are now.
That was the beginning of a ministry that God keeps growing. Near the beginning, God blessed them with a place in the country in the middle of the rice paddies. Here they have the room to expand more so more children can learn of the love that Jesus has for them. We also were able to visit an orphanage in Cambodia started many years ago by Tim Maddox. He started a school there too because of the need to train the orphans and other Seventh-day Adventist children to become workers for the Lord. If any of you are looking for a mission opportunity, they are looking for volunteer teachers.
So we spent quite a bit of our time in Thailand, but we were kind of going back and forth because we had visas. You could only stay there 30 days, so we would go to Thailand, then we were in Indonesia, then back to Thailand, and actually Japan. And when we went back to Thailand, we had to go out and go to Cambodia. That's why we went to some other places. Well, one of our times we spent in Thailand, we did some traveling around in Thailand with a group of 18 people in eastern Thailand. And there we were visiting different schools and orphanages. Well, not orphanages, sorry, schools and churches. This is one of the little churches that we actually visited there. And we were trying, during this time, we were just kind of seeing what the need was, hopefully like being able to pass out some books. So this is one of the places we also visited there. That's actually in western Thailand, in the mountains. The Karen people, they live there. This is kind of an example of how they live in their houses. So we did a lot of this traveling, and during the time of doing this traveling, we were able to see that they really needed training for the pastors and the teachers, because we were kind of surprised about their knowledge, the lack of knowledge that they had about some of the basic Adventist beliefs. So that was something that we really noticed when we were traveling around.
The main reason we were traveling around eastern Thailand was to pass out books that had been printed in the Thai language.
There's a whole stack of them. The kids were helping load them.
The mission field, in general, really rarely has enough money to cover all the needs. So often programs and things are eliminated or drastically cut down. In 2011, one of those things that closed was the printing press ministry in Bangkok, Thailand. Then, and even still now, Ellen G. White books are not generally available in the local language in Asia. The Sharon family wanted to change this, so they used their inheritance to get some of Ellen G. White's books printed in the Thai language. They are working hard to pass out these books to schools and churches so they can get them into the hands of the people.
So this one over here, that's Jason Sharon. He's the father, and then whoops. These are their kids, the three little ones there on the top of the truck. So this, okay, go ahead, buddy. You were reading about this? Okay, so this is all they have. This is what they have printing, this is how they print pamphlets and different things. They have copiers like this. Did you already read that part? Okay, so go ahead.
Like I mentioned earlier, we had a chance to join them on one of these trips in eastern Thailand. They have several copiers that they can use for printing booklets and pamphlets, but these copiers are often broken down and difficult to repair. In order to print full-size books, they have to send them to a printing press. The Steck family, with Love for Asia Foundation, also has copiers and is able to print booklets and pamphlets in the local language. They employ several translators for more content to print and have 2 TV studios at different locations in Thailand and are able to broadcast in the local language.
We actually went and visited one of those TV studios, but we don't have pictures, I guess, of that, but they do a lot of broadcasting there on the internet and for people so that they can watch little short things and stuff.
The Rogers family in Cambodia is trying to get a printing ministry.
This is the Rogers family right here. This is Kat and Rogers right in the,
Satan is constantly attacking them, trying to stop this work. They have had problems with getting the press shipped to them and having working presses or other equipment needed for making books. God has blessed them with a place to start the publishing work and a building needed to house the equipment. He continues to bless and help overcome the obstacles Satan puts in their path. Please pray for these very necessary ministries.
They recently just purchased another press, which will allow them to print more books faster, and he's waiting, I think, currently to get that shipped out of, I think it's Bangkok, I think is where he got it from.
yeah, I think it's supposed to be coming soon. So while we were in Thailand, we planned to join a mission trip that was going to India to do evangelistic meetings, attempting to open up several churches that have been closed for over 10 years. India requires foreigners, though, to obtain an e-visa before flying to their country. So I filed for them online, and they were all granted. So we had plane tickets, and we thought we would be on our way with no problems. But God had some more lessons to teach us.
So the night before we were supposed to fly out, we were up in Sukhothai, Thailand. So we took the overnight bus because we had a morning flight, and we got there early in the morning in plenty of time. It was like the only flight that we actually made it on time for. But so we got there, and Mama had already checked in online because she wanted to make it quicker. And so all we had to do was check our luggage. But when we went to do that, they told us that Daddy's e-visa had an incorrect passport number, and so he wasn't able to get on the plane. And so we tried to figure out like what we could do because it was actually his old passport number, but there was nothing we could do. And so we sat there in the airport all day, and we were really, really sad because we wanted to go to India. And Daddy emailed the e-visa people, and then towards the end of the day, we decided, because some friends recommended, that we go to the India Embassy in Bangkok. And so we went down there with all of our luggage, dragging it down the sidewalk. And we went in there, and they told Daddy that there was nothing they could do, and it was the e-visa people's problem. So we were standing out there in the hall, and we were trying to figure out what to do, and we were going to just get a hotel. But before we actually booked the hotel, Mommy asked Daddy to check his email again, and when he did, there was his visa, and it had been fixed. And so by now, it was like 5:45 at night, and the only flight that we would be able to catch to India left in like 3 hours. And we were supposed to be there by then if we wanted to get on that flight, and we didn't have plane tickets. But we decided to get a taxi, and we went to the airport. And we got to the airport at like 7:30, and check-in closed at 8. And so Mommy went over to the counter, and she got tickets. And then by the time we were finally done checking in, it was like 8:15. And then we hurried to the plane. And so we got on that plane with our friends who were all going. And we got to India late that night. And we met at the airport, and these flowers were put on us. And then the next day we went up to Vellore, which is where we were supposed to be doing churches. And the hotel we stayed at, they had never had anyone stay there before. And so they kind of gave us a welcome with all these interesting instruments. And they put those things on us. And then for church, that was Friday. And then on Sabbath, we went to church, and Daddy had to preach. And he preached a great sermon. And then this is just some pictures. That's our church. Raziella was preaching that night. This was a health clinic at one of the other churches. This is just some people in the village. And
Sights you see in India.
yeah, cows are very holy. You better not hit them or anything. They're way more holy than people. You can hit people, but you can't hit cows. This is just a little street thing in our village where our church was. There's Mommy. She was telling a children's story to all the cute kids. There's Ryan. He's preaching a sermon.
So everyone got a chance to get up and do some talks and to have some practice being up front. So it was good for us.
So then on Sabbath, our whole group came together, and we attended the same church, and there was baptisms and stuff. And then that evening, this is our church. After the meeting, they all gave us lots of cool things, and then they ate. And we went around, and we tried to talk to them a little bit. And then on Sunday, because we had to do something touristy, we went to the Vellore Fort, and we walked around a little bit. And then that evening, we drove to a JFA evening school. Mama, supposed to talk about that.
One of the things that they do in India is they have Bible workers in a lot of different places, but they also have evening schools that they set up in different villages. And the evening schools are mostly for the poor children, but some of them that are not always poor. But they offer a meal, and then they help them with schoolwork, and they also teach them like Bible songs and scriptures. They memorize scripture. So we went and visited one of them, and these are just some pictures from them. The kids, when they feed them every night, this actually opens up the hearts of the children, and they learn about God through these schools, and then they go from there and they teach their parents. And so many people are brought in to the true worship of God, and away from Hinduism because of the evening schools that are there.
So that's a lightning speed summary of our trip. It's a little hard. We were there for a little over 4 months with Jesus for Asia. And I think most of these people we visited with Jesus for Asia connected in some way or another. So our plans now are, we're planning to return back to Asia in the fall, probably in September or October. We have some things to get ready here before we can go. We're not quite sure if we are going to Thailand or Indonesia. There's still some trying to figure those details out, but we're working on being ready to go by October timeframe. And this last time we went for a very specific time period. This next time when we go will be open-ended, so we don't know when we'll come back. Probably next summer, but we don't know that. So, thank you.
Okay, I just want to encourage all of you to figure out what it is that God is asking you to do to serve, because not everybody can go somewhere or do something away from your home maybe, but there is something you can do. There's prayer you can pray. I mean, there's a lot of these people we were mentioning that need a lot of prayer. People with resources can give resources. But if you can go out and do something, even if it's just something with your neighbor, that is a really good way to reach out to people. But share what God has given you. Be a blessing to others. I just want to encourage people.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you noticed, but they missed each other in India with Josiah. He was there the 2 weeks prior to when they were there. Anyway, but we'll break up for our classes at this time. The adult class is in the